Hello all, here we are again on Gelvin Valley. You can hear our trusty sheep baying at us. I've never really looked around this particular area when I've started videos. I've always just tabbed to equipment or whatever. Yep, there's our little sheep. On this mod, by the way, apparently there's a way to shear the sheep. I'm maybe gonna have to, yeah, I don't see anything here. Just a mod to follow us around. So if we come over here, it should be following us, at least at some point. Yeah, looking at us. Here it comes a running. Well, we'll be tabbing into equipment to continue the work we're doing on the farm. Looks like a beautiful day to work, so we'll get right to it. I think we're still ripping up our fields following... Oh yes, we're over here in this particular field. Kind of a pasture field. I love that I can hear the water of the stream bed going. Love that little touch of realism that it adds. Let me see here. I think we're lifting rocks out of the ground. Yes, we are. Alright. Oh, we're going to take this old gate off. Don't look. Suspend realism for a little bit. I do appreciate having those gates not have collisions on them when they auto open like that, because they're kind of unpredictable. You don't know when exactly they're going to open it and smack on you, so kind of handy to have them that way. It's been a few days since I've recorded one of these episodes. I'm sure it's readily apparent that I don't have a clue what I'm doing with this YouTube thing. So a lot of times I go in spurts recording these things, and it's pretty easy to record. What I never knew was just how much administrative type work there could be in posting a video on YouTube. I even have had a friend help me out on oh, I still got that thing on the ground. Oops, that would have been a major oops. That was in real life. Pretty sure I've talked about that. That'd be a good way to rip the shanks off. Yeah, so a lot of times when I record these, not that anybody particularly cares, but I'll maybe do several of them in a row. I think today I'll have time just to do one. So maybe later when we get home from some family things. But a lot of the other administrative stuff, I don't have very good internet where I'm at. At one point I thought maybe I could do pseudo live sessions, if you will. Live sessions with nobody listening. Because I think for YouTube they would automatically record whatever you do in the live session, and it ends up on YouTube, and that way I wouldn't have to wait for the painfully long upload times. But for a half-hour video where I live, the internet, oh, how long would that take? It is a several-hour endeavor. Let me just put it that way. And so if I do several and I get several of them uploading, it goes all night long, day after day. And then there's coming in and adding stuff to all these videos that people may or may not be interested in knowing. Whether it's adding a description or the recording date, the language, fixing what are called end tags so it points to another video. All these things, that I just never knew it existed in the world of YouTube. And my friend Atomic67 is trying to educate me on all these things. Hopefully he doesn't feel like a failure. I'm trying to listen. I'm trying. But there's just a lot of things to keep in mind, and I haven't even got to the point. This is a reason his videos will always be better than mine and so many others, is they actually then take time to edit them. I kind of just record these things and let her rip, if you will, and throw them out there. And yeah, like I say, I guess I'm not very serious about it. Not yet, anyways. Just kind of doing this for kicks. But I thought, I always wonder what to talk about in these, and maybe I should focus solely on the farm. I don't know. But this time, I thought I would talk a little about maybe some of the reasons why I decided to try YouTubing a little bit. One of them has to do with a map that I've been working on that isn't this one here, incidentally. It's just I got back into Farm Sim 15. I don't know why or how that happened. Well, I guess I know how that happened. I've described that before. There's this other map, and it was kind of my gateway map to get into Farm Sim 15, and I just fell in love with it. I spent a ton of time on it and had all these ideas that I wanted to implement in it, so I've slowly tried to get to those. Still kind of working on them, although between YouTubing and taking care of all of that and working on this map, um, don't have a lot of time to go back to the other. But I need to do that and move on with the world, so I've heard, and get into Farm Sim 22 and all that. So, but that was one reason that I got into it. YouTubing was this map that I'm going to be working on. I have done so much to it and I never took very good notes. Usually I'm pretty organized, but I never took really good notes in terms of where I got additional things that I would add. So, if there was a factory that I added, well, for example, I added a cardboard factory, and well, somebody made the model, somebody, put all that together, and I just grabbed the asset and I installed it in the map, and I intend to use it. Well, if you're going to release a map, even an edited one, it's a good idea to make sure you document the credits. And I don't know how mappers do this. I mean, you look at the credit stream of some maps, and it just goes on pages. Those maybe are the really good ones, and even the really conscientious ones, that attempt to give credit where credit is due, most of them will say, they've done the best they can. If there's anything missing in the credits, please let them know. And it can be a big deal because sometimes a particular mod author, if they see someone take their asset and don't give them proper attribution, well, some of them can get pretty ticked. And yeah, depending on the person, they can then, like if a person tried to release the map on the Giants mod hub, they can try to have it taken down. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things on there. I'm not here to say what's petty or vindictive or right or wrong or on all of that. I do believe it's important to give credit where credit is due. Um, but the hard part with giving credit is any of us that have ever done a little bit of modding know, well, one, you know how hard a work it is to get into it, but two, I feel we should also recognize that we stand on the shoulders of lots of other people. And so sometimes when we create something, we can have this tendency to think, well, look what I did. This is all mine. I did it all. And we forget the people we learned from or who taught us how to do it, and or even the people that offered encouragement along the way. I don't dismiss the impact of that at all. Sometimes it's just a kind word by someone, that encourage us to dig in and work all the harder at it. It's kind of like YouTube. I've been very humbled by many of the comments in here, just how nice some of you are. um, Listen, I'm under no illusions. I know that this is totally new to me, and I don't have anything special to offer that some other person out there couldn't do a whole lot better. But still, I appreciate all the nice comments. That's very nice of everybody. Very kind of you to do that. And I guess the only thing I would say on that is to encourage you, in your real life, away from YouTube, whether it's a kid or someone you work with. It never hurts to encourage someone else or to give a compliment where it's due. Just to lift someone else up. It doesn't cost anything, and it can mean all the difference in the world of just to someone else, with whatever they may be going through. But kind of getting off track. But that was part of the reason I wanted to YouTube is that, with this map I'm working on and the number of changes that I made to it and everything, there is no way or no feasible way at this point. Well, I shouldn't say absolutes. There probably is, but part of it is I just don't want to do it. Go through the research, and I don't know how to locate the previous or the original author of the map, and so figuring all that would be a lot of tough things I really don't want to have to do. But a part of me is, well, if you go to all this effort, maybe it'd be something you could share and show others that you did in the map, then maybe, I don't know. I don't want it to seem like, well, you're just showing off, whatever you did to it. I don't want it to seem that way at all. But maybe it would inspire someone else out there to try something in their map. Now let's see here. Where should I go? If I recall correctly, I didn't start in the same area. So let's see here. I had wheat in all my fields, so I think I started over here. And I kind of came up around. So now we did the pasture over here. Maybe I'll come over here to 3 and kind of climb the hill that way. That's what I'll do. Down the hill we go. And besides, nobody cares about Farm Sim 15 anymore, or so I've heard. Although there's a few people that still have active saves on it, or one that they come back to. And look at that, I just missed my entrance. Talking away. I think I've said this before, but for me, it's all about the map. If it's a good map, I really don't care what version it's in. If it feels kind of like home and I enjoy being on it, I don't care what version it is. And this is a good map, by the way. I've already recorded one episode on this other map, and I've uploaded it. I'm not sure. I've been trying to release one video a day. That's going to be an impossible schedule to keep probably at some point. One per day during the weekdays. So I'm not sure just when it'll come up in rotation. Mainly the first episode was just exploring kind of the original map, how it was made by the map author, and then I'll get into the one with the modifications to it that I did kind of over a period of time. So that was one purpose. The other purpose is kind of more personal. I can't even drive and talk at the same time. Perhaps, if you've clicked on this video, you've seen a note that I've left at the bottom of it that says something to the effect, oh, that's a nice rock. It's just something to the effect that it just acknowledges, it puts on the table, yes, I know my voice sounds strange, and I indicate kind of what the reason for that. It's called spasmodic dysphonia. And shoot, I mean, I guess since I mentioned it there, maybe I'll just put it in here. I can't remember when it came on. I mean, first off, this spasmodic dysphonia thing is, it's a neurological thing. In other words, it's in the brain. And what it means is my brain doesn't talk to my vocal cords the same way that it does for normal people. So you'll often hear a catch in the voice, or and there's varying degrees of it too. Some people have it very bad, and there's different types of it, and I can't even remember what particular type I have. I'm not sure it matters. All I know is my voice doesn't cooperate the way I'd kind of like it to, and I got to be honest, this came on. Oh goodness, was I probably in my latter 20s, maybe when this came on? So I've had it a part of me for quite a number of years. I'm 47 now, and I'm just an introverted accountant for the most part. So, and I don't have to do a whole lot of speaking, public speaking or whatever. Although the past few months I've taught a class. I mean, there's always going to be some public speaking that needs to be done, and I really don't mind it per se. Although I get sweaty palms, like the next person, but I don't really mind it. But the part that I mind, if you will, is I know how my voice sounds. I mean, and I know nobody likes, or I say nobody, very few people tend to like how their voice sounds, because it's so different, when you talk and it rattles in your head a certain way. So you think it sounds a certain way, and then when you hear a recording of yourself, it's like, is that really me? It's like, yeah, that's you. That's what everybody hears. So, so I know it's common to have, this tendency of not liking how our voice sounds. But I know for me, and I'm just laying it out there and being honest. You know, it it is a neurological thing, but I think at some point it starts to become a psychological thing. Or maybe that isn't the term. I don't know. Where you become self-conscious about it, and I know for me there are certain words that are harder to say than others, or not harder to say, but certain words that I know will not work as well in my voice. And so sometimes it has changed, well, maybe not changed my vocabulary. I don't know if that's the right way to say it or not, but it can change the way I say something. And then it's even more awkward. Instead of just being a natural thing you might say, it comes out, even the words are different than what would normally be used. And sometimes, you can avoid people and situations or be more reluctant to meet new people because my voice sounds weird. And, it's pretty easy to be self conscious and all that. And, when I think about it all, I mean, this is nothing, right? I mean, there have been people who've had their legs amputated, or they've had open heart surgery, had multiple heart attacks. They've just had multiple different types of health concerns. I mean, I have a brother-in-law right now who's battling cancer, and it may end up taking him, and I hope it doesn't. So whether it's that or just people dealing with some knocks that they've had in life that I've never had, I mean, this seems pretty puny, by comparison. So, who am I to complain about this? And I've tried not to. I've tried not to complain because I know there's so many other bigger fish to fry out there, if you will. But knowing that this is something, I need to deal with and learn to overcome, I think it's helpful to me just to try to talk. And I don't have a lot to say, or I don't think I do anyways. And so sometimes it's a challenge for me to how to fill up these videos, talking the whole time. Because, I've watched these videos before too, whether here or on Twitch. And one thing I've always insisted on is if I'm going to listen to somebody who's just playing a game there, he had doggone well better talk. Well, now I have to put my money where my mouth is. If I'm going to sit here and play this and someone's going to, do me the service of taking their time up to listen to this or watch it or whatever, well, then I need to practice what I'm preaching, I guess, and try to talk, whether it's about the game or something else. But I have hopes, with my medical condition or whatever, that, that this will help me. I don't know that it'll help me overcome it, but maybe it'll just help me through the exercise of talking. It's probably good for my voice, I imagine, to try to work with it a little bit, but maybe it'll help me overcome some of my own personal, what would you call it, anxieties over using my voice. And it's, I get by. I don't mean to say it's just a crippling thing, I go to work just like everybody else and try to do the best I can, but there are, and it's good to be the type of person who listens and isn't just, jawboning all the time, but I've arguably overdid it on the other, on the listening part, and probably should have contributed more, taken more opportunity to contribute verbally than what I have because I know my voice sounds strange and it's not very strong. So, anyway, without belaboring the point, um, that's kind of something I hope for these YouTube videos is whether anybody listens to them or not. And at this point, I mean, I don't mean to sound gracious in saying this, but whether someone listens or not, or whether someone subscribes or not, I mean I'm doing this as a hobby and for personal reasons, I guess you would say. So um, I've kind of resolved that one thing I don't ever want to say in here is, pull the old, well, like and subscribe and all that kind of thing. You all do whatever you want to do. There's so many things to watch on YouTube and so many things to occupy our time. Who am I to tell you that you need to be here anywhere else? Hey, we're done with another field. We got all sorts of rocks being accumulated on this map. But never fear, we'll worry about those later. And this is one difference here on Farm Sim 15. We don't have the ability to pick them up in our hands. And I suppose if I was really ambitious, maybe I could put together a script to do that. I'm sure there would be a way to do it, maybe. But I don't think I'm that ambitious. All I did was bring over an auto loading script for the rocks. So I'll take care of those in a bit. Here we go again. Now on this field. I just like this little ripper. So for spasmodic dysphonia, I mean, if anybody is curious, there are treatments available, but it's kind of just a band-aid because it's a neurological condition, meaning it's in the brain. So I don't think they know too much about it. I suppose at the end of the day, if they really could figure out where in the human brain that it would deal with this kind of thing, maybe you could have open brain surgery or whatever they would call it, and they could poke some area in the brain and fix it all, or however you would say that. But I don't think they know. So, they've even had programs for people with this condition. You can donate your brain when you're dead, and so they can study it. I think my wife has always said I need my head to be examined. So maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Time will tell. But the treatment that they have is, I gotta say, I tried it for a while, and it just didn't really work for me. And I'll explain what it is here. I suppose I need to do some more research on this. There are maybe some verbal exercises I could try. But the one that I did, that the doctor recommended I do, was to literally get shots in my throat, in my vocal cords themselves. And it's only a 15-minute procedure. And so there's only now, I don't know how many. I was told this condition is fairly rare, like maybe 1 in 10,000 people have it. So the only doctors in the state that would deal with it, so I've been told, are kind of in a distant city. I got to drive an hour or more to get up there to do it. So it's kind of a pain in the neck. And it's only a 15-minute procedure. So, I go up there and show up at the doctor's office. The nurse takes me in. It takes longer to do the paperwork, for insurance and whatnot than it does to even do the procedure. Well, the first order of business is they put you in a chair, they lean you back so they can get a nice view of your throat. Then they take this needle and he's looking very specifically for a spot on your throat. He pokes it in, and it's right in your airway. And he squirts in some deadening stuff. And I mean, I gotta say, I mean, it just makes you cringe. I about passed out the first time that he did it, and fortunately, I was sitting in a chair. But so yeah, it's like, what have I done when he did that? And it sprayed it all over in there. The first thing you do immediately, because it's in your airways, you cough profusely because it's all going down your throat into your lungs and everything. And so you cough and get it out, and then you wait for, I don't know, 10 minutes or something while the deadening in there takes effect. And, it's just a topical thing for inside your throat, if you will. And then when he's ready, he comes in with two more stabs of the needle. These are a little bit smaller, and he's putting, it's Botox of all things. He's putting Botox in both of your vocal cords. I guess there's two flaps down in there, one on either side, and there's no camera, there's no nothing. He can't see what he's doing. And what it is, it's electrical impulse that apparently tells him kind of where he's at, and I have no idea how that works. He hooks up some electrodes to you somehow, and then he very carefully, probably through many years' experience or whatever, knows exactly kind of where to poke and get this Botox, right into your vocal cord. And most people, when they hear Botox, I mean, we have, oh, that's the things that people inject in their face, to get rid of wrinkles, or shoot, I don't know what all that's for. And it's actually a toxin. I mean, I used to help my mother can growing up. We had a lot of canned goods with a large family, and she would always talk about botulism. If we didn't handle something that we were canning appropriately, that you could get botulism in it. It's poison. Well, that's apparently what this is. It's a type of poison. So, but I guess it works okay for certain applications, whether smoothing out wrinkles or trying to help a dude with spasmodic dysphonia. So he puts this in. I mean, it takes just a minute or two. And, there's deadening inside, so you hardly feel it. You can feel the pressure more of the needle going in, and there is a little bit of pain too. But it's bearable. It really isn't too bad. And then he sends you on your merry way. And the first thing it does, and this is part of the reason I no longer do it too, depending on how much of the stuff that he injects, it totally kills your voice. I mean, it just kills it. And not just kills it in a way to where you can't hear it, period. I mean, you still can, but not only did you have the problem before that you had before, now it doesn't even work properly. And so your tone is off, you feel the need to cough more, and you can't get something out. It's just a really weird feeling. But eventually, and I think this is what the Botox does, is it kind of freezes your vocal cords, because when you don't have that in there, and I saw pictures of this too, um, your cords kind of waver in a very strange way. They don't work quite like normal, whereas, and normally I think they would be tight. You would see them open and close like if you talked or whatever. But in mine, what you see is you see them quaver and wiggle around, and that's part of what makes it sound so strange. So the Botox apparently flattens them out, helps them stay rigid, if you will. But it sure takes a sweet time taking effect, or however that works. So, I don't have to do a lot of speaking at my job, but it's really hard to give up 3 weeks, which is about how long it would take a lot of times to, till you could speak normal again. And then I gotta say, it did work pretty effective. It worked pretty nice for a while, and you could speak, you would sound more normal. So I totally get it why people do it. And I've been told, a lot of people, in my shoes, what they would do is, rather than taking a big dose where they just get clobbered, and have to wait 3, 4 weeks till their voice sounds normal again or can even be used, A lot of times what people would do is they would just come in more frequently and get smaller doses, so it didn't hamper their communication. Well, I got to drive an hour and a half, or not an hour and a half, but an hour at least to get to the town, where this is done. So 2 hours round trip. I can't afford to be away from work that much time, to be able to do this like weekly or that kind of thing that some of these other guys do. Or at least I don't feel it's bad enough, to where I would need to do that. So at some point, I mean, after going through this, I don't know how many times, I just said, you know what, forget about it. I'll just deal with it as best I can. And maybe if the day comes that a doctor here locally handles this, then maybe I can go back into treatments. So that's kind of just a brief primer on my funny little affliction, if you will. Like I say, so many people have it much worse, and who am I to complain? This is how God made me, and that's mine to bear and to smile. So, which I'm trying to do. So part of it is putting a few videos on here, forcing myself to talk for at least a half-hour period, at least till apparently the alarm sounds. And so, yeah, who knows how long this will go on or what all will come of it, but I suppose as long as there's a few people around to listen to it, I'll maybe try to keep making some videos. But apparently we're at the end of half an hour, so you know what? I think I'll let it go there. For anybody that made it to the end, thank you for listening. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you the next time. Take care.